All right, some voters there after more than a month of high stakes campaigning. Now, Canadians coast to coast have their say. From affordability, cost of living crisis, housing, the impact of Donald Trump, there is a lot to consider this time around. Let's bring in CTV News political commentator Scott Reid. Good to see you on Election Day, my friend. Your thoughts on the path to victory here? What is it? How does it play out? What is it looking like right now? What do you think?
Two places in particular, Ontario and British Columbia. And I think we're going to see that both the campaigns are going to be watching with white knuckle enthusiasm to see how the votes and the seats land in 905, that little ribbon around Toronto. We've seen the polls draw close between the Conservatives and the Liberals over this past few days in Ontario and nationally. So where the seats are is where the difference is going to be. So look for that. And in British Columbia, holy smokes, like we could be sitting up at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, waiting to see how those seats split, because it is a neck and neck race in British Columbia between the Conservatives and the Liberals. And whoever wins the lion's share of seats, that may make the difference, at least between a minority and a majority, might make the difference as to who serves as prime minister.
We've talked a lot about Trump during this election, like it or not. He sent out a message again today, which we're going to show to our viewers. Basically, I'm just going to paraphrase. It starts off with good luck to the great people of Canada, but he goes on to say, elect a man who will bring a lot of things, cut your taxes, increase your military power. He goes on to talk about natural resources. And near the end, he talks about Canada becoming the 51st state of the United States. How does that land on Election Day, Scott? What do you think?
Well, you know, this campaign has been so startling and unpredictable from start to finish, Todd. You know, and yesterday we had this terrible tragedy in British Columbia. Now we have Trump intervening again, brandishing again this threat of 51st state. What's he even mean? What, we're supposed to vote for Trump? We're supposed to erase everybody else's names in the local ballot and write in Donald J. Trump? It's probably most unwelcome for the Conservatives. They've tried hard, as we know, to focus the campaign and the ballot question that people will be voting around today on change, on cost of living. And to me, it isn't just when Trump's name comes up. It is the particular suggestion that Canada ought not to be treated as a sovereign country, that our borders are not to be respected, that our land is not ours, and it would somehow be better off as the 51st state. It is offensive to a wide swath of Canadians. It doesn't break down on a partisan basis. And every time Trump has come up and come into our election in this way, it has underscored the issue of leadership and who you trust most to take on Trump. And that is broken generally in the favor of Mark Carney.
So let me ask you about Mark Carney turning around the fortunes of the Liberals. Justin Trudeau leaves, Carney comes in, the Trump factor as well. How does that all play out tonight?
Well, I mean, that's going to be the $64,000 question. There's no doubt that Mark Carney, and specifically Mark Carney, with his credentials, his experience in dealing with economic financial crises of an international order, have allowed the Liberal Party to mount this startling resurrection. Will he get a majority government tonight? It looks like it's right on the bubble. But however tonight ends up, chances are he is going to be prime minister. And, you know, it is not just a consequence of him being best to take on Trump. I think when you look at Carney, the secret of his success has been that he is the un-candidate. He's the un-Trudeau, he's the un-Trump, and he's been the un-Poilievre. And that has allowed him to turn enough heads and to attract enough votes to not only put the Liberal Party back into play, but to possibly give him 4 years as prime minister. It's a staggering, without precedent development. We've never had a prime minister who didn't serve or even seek to achieve electoral office prior to this. Like, it is really something for the books.
And last thing I want to get your read on is where Pierre Poilievre finds himself on Election Day.
Pierre Poilievre, in the last 10 days, as I think it's fair to say, turned this election into a complete horse race, day by day. If this race lasted 10 more days, I think, you know, based on the trajectory we've seen recently, he might be sitting pretty. So we'll see if the guy who some will say, well, he blew a lead of 26 points, is able to overcome mid-campaign all those challenges and get himself back into a position where he wins. But right now, it looks like it's super tight, tiger tight right across the country, particularly in Ontario and British Columbia. If he fails, it's going to be a really tough time for Pierre Poilievre. A lot of hard questions to be asked. But if he succeeds, my God, it will be a massive comeback in response to a massive comeback. I mean, there are dramatic stories everywhere you look, and of course, as we know, given Donald Trump's intervention, we're reminded that the stakes couldn't be higher.
CTV News commentator Scott Reid with his take. Hey, Scott, we'll be talking to you when the dust settles, my friend, later this week. Thanks for this.
Sounds good, Todd. Thanks a lot.